Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marissa and I am the creator behind Missouri Makes. Today we are going to start with week 1 of the Stitch Sampler Mystery Cowl. And if you've never done a cowl, it's spelled C-A-L, which is crochet along, or the abbreviations for crochet along, and it's going to be a mystery. This is, like the title says, Stitch Sampler, so we are going to be learning different types of stitches, hopefully some of them that you have never made before, which will kind of give you a up on your stitches so that you can use them in future projects. And so I'm hoping that this is something that you'll enjoy, that's fun, as well as something that you might learn something. We're going to be doing a bunch of different stitches. We are going to be doing this for 5 weeks. This is week 1, and I am hoping to get this video out March 1st, which is when this mystery cowl starts. And so let's go over what we will need for this mystery cowl. So the original pattern, I used 2 skeins of Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel in the color Crocus and Focus, which you can use whatever you want. The Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel is a number 4 weight yarn, and so you can use whatever 4 weight yarn you want. It doesn't matter. You can shop your stash for all I care. I actually recommend it. That's what I'm doing for this sample here, is I just went and got some yarn that I already had at the house. I didn't go buy more. So instead, I don't have any more of the Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel, so I'm going to be using I Love This Yarn. Both this yarn and the Sugar Wheel both came from Hobby Lobby, and if you will catch Hobby Lobby on the right week, they run 30% off all their yarns on every other week. And so I just grabbed a number 4 weight yarn that I have here at my house, and it's Christmas colors, and that's the only reason is because I didn't have time to go over to the office and grab more yarn. This is what I had here at the house, and so this is what we're going to be using, and that's fine. So I have color red, which is number 40, and color mid green, which is number 140. And I will also be using a 5.5 crochet hook, which is, it's upside down, sorry, which is a I9. And so that's what I will be using. You will also need scissors and a tapestry needle. In the pattern, it says that measuring tape is optional. If you're a stickler for gauge, then measuring tape will be handy for you, but I will say that for this pattern, it is not necessary to check your gauge. So if you don't want to, if that's not something you enjoy doing, then this is the pattern for you. You don't have to worry about it for this pattern. We can just crochet and have fun together. Now, this is supposed to be a fun and simple project that we can work up in the next 5 weeks. I am hoping that in the name it's Stitch Sampler, and so we are going to be working different stitches each week, kind of like color blocks of stitches each week, and hopefully there'll be at least one stitch that you haven't made yet. So this is a perfect beginner project. If you are new to crochet, then this is the pattern for you. And hopefully I will be able to get a supplemental video out every week to go along with this cowl, so that if you're having trouble understanding the written instructions, you will have the video tutorial to help with whatever it is that you're not understanding. Because I am a visual learner myself, I try to accommodate for anybody that needs help. And so other than that, I think that's everything we need. Let's see, make sure I go over everything. Gauge, doesn't matter. We've got the 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, scissors, tapestry needle to weave in your ends and your yarn. And I think that's it. Let's go ahead and zoom in and get started. Now, before I get started, I do want to specify this is a paid pattern on my Ravelry as well as my Ko-Fi, and so I will be helping you along with this pattern, but for the exact rows or numbers that you need, it'll all be in the pattern, which you can find, like I said, in my Ravelry or in my Ko-Fi shop, and all of that will be linked down in the description box below. If you don't care about the amount of rows that I do for this pattern and you just want to crochet along with me, that is fine. But if you want to make this exact project, then you will have to go and grab you a pattern, and every week it will be updated with that current week's stitch that we're going to be learning. So I'm starting with the red, which is number 40 of I Love This Yarn, and I have chained 42, and so I am going to, whenever I work a chain like this, we're not going to join in the round, we're going to be working flat. And so whenever I do a chain like this, I always like to crochet in these back bumps because it leaves the edge looking nice. And so that's what I do. You don't have to do that if it's not feasible for you, but that is just a little tip that I like to point out, because for me it is easier in the long run to do that instead of having to crochet on the edge to make it look nice. Or if you end up having to add a border to a project, it is easier to crochet whenever it looks like you've got the front and back loops of your stitch to go into. It helps with your with borders and stuff if you want to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to row 1. And row 1 says to double crochet in second chain from hook. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to skip 1 and 2. There's the second bump or second chain of our chain 42, and we're going to do a double crochet. Okay, and then it says to do 1 double crochet in each chain across. I apologize if you hear my washer in the background. I'm trying to get, it's like almost midnight and I'm trying to get stuff done so that I have an easier day tomorrow with the kiddo. So if you hear my washer in the background, I do apologize. But go ahead and double crochet in each chain across and we'll meet back up. Alright, so I have finished row 1, which is double crochet in each chain across. This is what your piece should look like. Pretty simple. Now let's go on to row 2. And row 2 has us start out with a chain 2. And I will state in right now and for every stitch later, unless the pattern specifies, the chain at the beginning of your work does not count as a stitch. So if, say, later on in the future it says to chain 4 or 5, if it does not say that it counts as a stitch, then it don't count as a stitch unless it says in the pattern. So it's just a starting chain to get you to the height that you need for this coming row. So row 2 says to chain 2, double crochet in the same stitch. So since that chain 2 does not count as a stitch, this is not an increase. It is just to get to the height that we need. And then it says to front post double crochet in the next stitch. Front post double crochet, you're going to take your hook, yarn over like you're going to double crochet, take your hook and go from front to back and then back up front like that. And you're going to wrap or yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then it says to back post double crochet in the next stitch. So you're going to yarn over like you're going to double crochet. You're going to go through like this, and you're going to come back to the back of your work, and you're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and complete a double crochet. Let's get some more yarn out. And then the row says that you're going to repeat this all the way across into the last stitch. So you're going to repeat front post, double crochet in the next stitch, back post double crochet in the next stitch. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Yarn over, front post double crochet in this stitch, back post double crochet in the next stitch, and you're going to alternate these 2 stitches all the way across until you reach the last stitch. And when you get to the last stitch, we will finish the row together. Alright, so I am here at the end and I have 1 stitch left. This is what your work should look like. A bunch of texture. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to put a double crochet into that last stitch of the row, just to finish off, to make sure it looks like the other side, because we put a double crochet in the first stitch here. We're going to put a double crochet in the last stitch here, so everything is even. Let's go ahead and go to row 3. You're going to chain 2, and you're going to place a double crochet into the first stitch. Alright, so we placed a double crochet into that first stitch, and now we are going to do a back post double crochet. And what we're going to do is we're going to read our stitches. So when we come up to the next stitch, which this is our next stitch, we're going to see that it is a back post double crochet. And so when you see a back post double crochet in your work, you're going to back post double crochet into that stitch, just like that. The next stitch, we notice it is a front post double crochet, so we are going to copy that and keep that pattern going and do a front post double crochet into that stitch. And you're just going to alternate these stitches back and forth, following the pattern you have already created all the way across. And that is what row 3 is. And you're going to repeat rows 2 and 3 until you reach a certain number of rows stated in the pattern. And when you do that, we will meet back up and I will come back for the next row. Okay, so for time purposes, I did not do the amount of rows that's specified in the pattern. If I have time, I will go back and fix it before section 2. But for now, this is what I'm going to go with. And so let's just go ahead and go to the next row and I will show you what we do. So I have finished my last row of 1x1 ribbing. That's what this stitch is. This stitch here is perfect for like cuffs on your crochet sweaters or jackets. It's good for the bottom of your sweaters. It's good for a neckband. It's good for the cuffs on hats, the bottom part of hats. It's good for a lot of things. And so I call this 1x1 ribbing. And so since we are done with 1x1 ribbing, you have done the amount of rows that's specified in the pattern. Let's go ahead and go to the next row where we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. Try not to bump the camera. I've got it situated a certain way so that everything is good and visual for you, hopefully. So I have chained 1. And we are going to place 1 half double crochet in each stitch. Half double crochet, and we're going to put a half double crochet in the first stitch this chain one's coming out of, because the chain one does not count as a stitch. But a half double crochet is yarn over, insert your hook into the specified stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And you're going to do that all the way across until you reach the end. This row is pretty simple. This is basically our border row. This row and the next row is basically our border row per section. And so when you get done with each section, we are going to add a border row to our work to kind of separate each stitch. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to place a half double crochet in each stitch, and we'll come back whenever we get to the end. Alright, so I have finished this row. I placed 1 half double crochet in each stitch. I'm going to turn my work, and this will be our last row for section 1. So we're going to chain 1 and to start our row, and this row says to do 1 half double crochet in the same stitch, and then you're going to place 1 half double crochet in the third loop of each stitch to the last stitch. So if you don't know what a third loop is, this is another technique that we can learn in the stitch sampler together. So if you look at a half double crochet, a half double crochet has the back loop, it has the front loop, right? Hold on. Okay, so I don't have a tapestry needle with me, so we're gonna fudge it. So there's your back loop, there's your front loop, and then a half double crochet also has this loop in the front of your work, depending on if you're in the round or if you're working flat. If you're in the round, this third loop will be on the inside. If you're working flat like we are, this third loop is going to be on the outside. So you're going to work 1 half double crochet into that third loop. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to place my half double crochet into that third loop, just like that. And you're going to do that all the way across, placing a half double crochet in the third loop only. Once you do a couple of the third loops, the loop starts to stand out and is easier to find when you go to do the next stitch. So it just kind of pops out after doing it a couple times. And you're going to do that all the way across. And when we get done, I'll show you what the back looks like, what it's supposed to look like, and how it's going to border each section of our mystery stitches. Alright, so I have made it to the last stitch of my row, and I'm just going to place a regular half double crochet in the top 2 loops to finish off my row and to make it match the other side. So when you flip your work over, you have this ridge, and I know it's hard to see in this red the way the lighting is on my phone, but you will have this ridge separating each mystery stitch, so you know this is week 1, and then we put a border, and then we will do week 2, put a border, and that way everything kind of stands out. So I hope this video tutorial was helpful for you, and like I said, if you want the exact numbers and rows that you're supposed to do in this pattern as we go along, you can purchase it at my Ravelry or Ko-Fi account and follow along with us. If you are finding this at a later time, you can always still go purchase the pattern and work each week's section at your own pace and do this along with us. So yeah, I will see you next week for section 2. I hope y'all have a wonderful week, and God bless.